Every day I get dozens of messages from you guys saying, yo Fiago, I want to start Sorare, I have 10 euros, 50 euros, 150, 400, 800, 1800, whatever. And you ask me, does it make sense to start Sorare right now, and what should I do with this budget that I have? Well, now I think it's the right time to make a full video dedicated to this topic. How much money do you need to start Sorare, and how should you start then, depending on how big your budget is? I'm gonna tell you all that in the following minutes. Let's go. Scenario number 1. You want to start with Sorare, but you literally have no money, or you're just not able to put any money into the game. Does it still make sense to start playing? Absolutely. Even if you have no money, you want to start playing with the common cards. When you make your account on Sorare, which is completely free, you will immediately get 11 of these white cards, which are called common cards. They have no rarity, they can't be sold, they have no value. The blue arrows, those are the cards that I got when I first started playing the game. I just selected my favorite league. I think I selected Sorare, you can tell, and then you will get mostly players from that league. And even though many people don't realize it or don't do it, but you can immediately start playing Sorare just with those cards. You just go here on play, you go to the next game week where you can put in your teams, and you don't go on limited, rare, super rare, unique, you go to common, and there you see the casual league, which is only for common cards. You enter your team, and for example, Ospina, I'm gonna have here Sven Botman, Fiago, there is Dybala, who won't play against Villarreal, but doesn't matter, and then let's say Morata, doesn't matter whatsoever, but you can enter those cards, you can select the captain as well, and here you go, you entered your first team on Sorare. And why do you want to enter those cards? It has to be said that the prize pool in this casual league is not high. Like, you see only the top 3 of over 90,000 players win a card that is worth real money. They win a limited card. Anyone else just wins another common card. But it still makes sense to play in this casual league because you just gain experience, you see how the game works, how players score points, what players score the most points, and you also gain more and more common cards. So eventually you might have a 6 common team that can even compete for those. But even if you never finish top 3 here, which you will probably not, it's very unlikely. I've also never done it, but it doesn't matter. You will gain the experience needed. So then if you decide at one point to put in real money into the game, you're not a beginner anymore. That already gives you a huge edge over other players who immediately put in money without having any experience in the game. So even if you have 0 money, you can immediately sign up to Sorare for free. Can also use my link if you want to. It's in the description. And then start with this casual league with your common cards. And what you can also do when you have no money in the game yet, invite your friends, because you might have friends who are already able to put in money into the game. Then you can just let them sign up via your link, and then that already gives you your first limited card once they bought 5 cards of the new auction. So that way, even without putting any money in, you can get your first card that you can sell then for real money. Then you have real money in the game. Scenario number 2, you are able and ready to put your first money into the game, but your budget is below 500 euros. Then you don't want to build your team yet, but instead you want to trade with limited cards. This one's going to be quite controversial because I know that many people in the game have below 500 euros, but they still build their limited teams. They compete in the limited leagues. You can do that. Of course, you can build a limited team with literally 10 euros, but those are going to be players that never play and won't score you points. And you can also build a limited team with 200, 250 euros. But are these players really going to win you rewards? I don't think so. I think below 500 euros, most of the times, you're not going to be able to build a limited team with players that can actually compete for rewards. As the problem is that the goalies are always the most expensive. You see, the very cheapest goalies on Sorare that start are already 80 euros. And those are the worst goalies that start. So there will barely be enough to get you actual rewards. And the forwards are also getting more and more expensive. So for me, I would say 500 euros. Below that, you don't want to build a team yet where you need a goalie, a forward, but you rather want to do this. You can just buy all kinds of limited cards and also cheap rare cards that you think are heavily undervalued right now and will rise in the future due to several reasons. Buy low and sell high. Well, easier said than done, but there's several methods for this. Here is some stuff that I've done before. For example, the most obvious method, buy injured players. I told you about Dominic Kor in the previous video. I bought him here, the yellow dots, for very cheap 6 times. I sold him here. Tripled my money because he was injured, he was back fit. That's how it works. If you want my full strategy, how I make money and profits with injured players on Sorare, then check out this video. I explained it all in there. Not gonna go into too much detail here. And there is so many different methods. Timo Baumgartel, by the way, this was a rare. You can also do it with cheap rares, under 500 euros, of course. Bought him here way back, April 2021. That was last season. He was at PSV Eindhoven. He never played, so he was just not in form. And that's also a good case. You think he will get in better form soon or might get a transfer and play more? That was the case here. Bought him for very cheap here. Then he got his loan move to Union Berlin. Now he's a starter there. And now he's triple the money. As simple as that. You can do that as well. Or another reason why players can rise. This guy, Mikhail Kerzakov, the goalie of Zenit. Bought him here. You also know that I showed that in the video. Mid-December, Russian league was just going into a long winter break of over 2 months. So the player dipped as well. Here you can see that very easily. It's only just beginning next week, I think. And now in the hype, bam, I sold him here, tripled my money as well. As the league is back, the player will play again. The player will score points again. As simple as that. Another method how you can make money there. And last but not least, the very popular goalie method. Goalies, you know, always so expensive. So you could also make profits by getting getting the second goalie of some teams. For example here, Leo Jardim from Lille, he was second goalie. The Croatian goalie Ivo Gribic was always the first goalie for Lille, but he had a very horrible game against PSG. The manager decided, okay, you're not gonna play anymore. Second goalie, you are gonna play. What happened to the price? It was like 40 euros, bam. He is right now over 200. So those are just a few methods how you can make money with a very, very small budget on Sorare. If you want me to make a detailed video about any of those strategies that I showed for trading, let me know in the comments. I'm gonna do that. Now I can't get into too much detail, but just know below 500 euros, I would recommend you to do trading with limited cards or cheap rare cards, much rather than wasting your money on some random team with random players that won't win any rewards anyway. But you can just trade your way up there until you have enough to actually build a team. Scenario number 3. Now you have at least 500 euros, and from 500 to 1000 euros, what you can do now is actually build a limited team of 1 goalie, 1 defender, 1 midfielder, 1 forward, and 1 extra card. I wouldn't really recommend rare yet, but go for a limited team that might win you rewards with some luck, obviously, always, but you're going to be able to afford a goalie, a forward that are just good enough to win you rewards on good match days. For example, you can see this team here. I don't usually play with this combination, but this could be an example of a team. In goal, Mark Flecken from Freiburg, most expensive player in this team. Obviously, goalies are always more expensive. Then defenders, you can save money. Jeremiah Saint-Just and Inigo Martinez are very, very solid options. They score very well when fit, and they are not that expensive. They're actually the cheapest players in this team. In midfield, Philip Kostic, I think I bought him for like 100 euros. And then Jonathan Burkhardt, for example, just from Mainz, the forward, also solid option. This is how much this team costs, and it could be an example for a team that might win rewards. Again, not suggesting you any of these players. Do your own research, but it's just an example for the budget range 500 euros to 1000 euros, where I could definitely win some limited cards on good game weeks. And which limited league do you want to compete in then first? Well, there's obviously a few different ones. There's All-Star, that is always the easiest one to start, since you can play any kind of players in the All-Star League. Then there is Champion Europe, only top 5 leagues. For example, the team that I showed you could go in Champion Europe as well, as it had 4 Bundesliga players and 1 La Liga. But keep in mind that Champion Europe players are mostly rather more expensive than players from less famous leagues. It's obvious because the top 5 leagues simply have more hype. So if you have knowledge in, for example, America, South American leagues and MLS, for example, that is, then you can go for that as well. Asia, J-League, Japan, K-League, Korea. If you have knowledge there, you can go for that. Those are mostly cheaper, although it also depends on when the leagues start, when the leagues end. You remember, when leagues are just ending, they're much cheaper. When leagues are just starting, they are much more expensive. Right now, these two are just starting, so I wouldn't recommend you to go in these. Then there is Challenger Europe, which is all European leagues except the top 5. So for example, Netherlands, Belgium, Portugal, that stuff. And there's also under 23, which I definitely will not recommend you, since these guys are more expensive. They're always hyped talents. No, don't go into this first. I'm just going to recommend you to go into the All-Star League first. You can line up any player, and if you are an expert in a certain league, then you can go for the competition that has your league in it after that. But first of all, I would say start with the All-Star League. It is the easiest. Then what do you do once you have more than 1000 euros but less than 2000? From 1000 to 2000 euros, you can go for your first rare team with a common goalie though. For example, this team, 4 rare players and 1 common goalie, because the special thing about the rare leagues is that you can not only enter rare players, but you can also enter 1 common card. That is a huge upside since the goalies are so expensive. Good rare goalies are going to be 1000 euros plus, so if you only have 1000 euros or a little bit more, you definitely don't want to put that money all into your goalie because you still need 4 more players. So what you want to do, absolutely get a common goalie. Remember, you always get one for free anyway when you start the game, so use that one if that's a good one. I got Wojciech Szczesny, for example. He's decent, and then you will have enough money left to buy 4 rare cards. I would always recommend 2 defenders. I have 2 here, for example, or 2 midfielders, and only 1 forward, since forwards are more expensive. This is how much this team costs right now, and your goal with such a rare team will always be to hit the thresholds. You don't want to get the cards. I mean, that would be sick, but with such a cheaper rare team, that's not really realistic. You just want to enter in the All-Star League. Very important, since this one has the so-called threshold. You want to hit the 205 points, then you get this amount of money, or the 250 points. Bit more difficult, but then you get double the money. And that should always be your goal when you're just starting out rare with this budget, that you hit these every week or every 2 weeks, because that's going to be a very nice cash flow for you. So slowly but surely, you're going to start to gain that money back that you invested into your team, and you still hold your card. So if you want, you can even skip that limited team step, and you can go straight into your first rare team with 1000 euros plus if you have that, because it's really not hard to hit those 205 points if you have players that start. I also did that. When I first started Sorare, I got into the rare team first before buying my limited team. It looked roundabout like this, and I won my first thresholds, got my first Ethereum rewards. It was nice. And I still line up a cheap rare team in the All-Star League every week to get those thresholds. So to sum it up, this team can win you the 205 points threshold, and also sometimes the 250 if lucky, but usually you are not going to win any cards with it. So scenario number 5 is for those who have a little more more money, 2,000 euros plus. If you have that, then you can go for a rare team with a rare goalie as well. An example for this would be my Wolfsburg team that I bought a while ago. Well, Wout Weghorst obviously now at Burnley, but it was my first full rare team that I bought. Koen Casteels, the goalie, was kind of expensive. This is the total value of this team currently. And I use this team to play in the Champion Europe League. You can't win thresholds there, you can only win cards. So I'm just really betting on a high Wolfsburg win. Great performance from all these guys to win a rare card, which is not that easy. But if you don't have a different team competing in the All-Star League, then you should always put in a team for the All-Star League first. And then in that case, you could use such a team in the All-Star League to just increase your chances of hitting not only 205 points, but even 250 points. Because, as you know, the common goalie in your team always gets a very heavy point deduction, 50%, because he's only common. Once you have a rare goalie here, you will just always score more points. It's that simple, because you won't get a point deduction. And then if you manage to get a full rare team with rare goalie and all starting players for, let's say, a little more than 2,000 euros, and you hit the 250 points threshold, not 0.02 ETH every single week, then that can already be very, very much profitable. So, for example, this is a team that wins you the 250 points threshold on most game weeks, and sometimes it can also win you a card. And a rare team really has open end to it. There's no limit. You can literally have a 50,000 euros rare team and win thousands of euros every single month with it in rewards. And if you have a ridiculous amount of money, after rare obviously comes super rare and unique, but I won't even cover these for now, since 99.9% of us don't have that amount of money, including me. When you have 100, 250k plus euros into the game, then it might make sense. And who knows, maybe we're gonna get there sooner as we think, but for now, I'm gonna skip that for another time. Yeah, that's it, guys. As simple as that. I always get these questions, Fiago, should I buy a limited team, a rare team, rare threshold team, should I buy a rare goalie, and whatever, but I hope this video could solve a few of these questions already. Any more questions that you have or topics that you want me to create a full video on for Sorare, tell me in the comment section and I will make sure to take care of the most important topics step by step so you get more success with your Sorare club. That's what I'm here for, that's my job, and I simply love to go this journey with you guys together. We will see each other in the next video. Sorare Fiago is out. Peace.